it can never be entirely the system's fault. I'm not one to put all the blame on a system that is systematically against you anyway. But the politics of the time, I was 16, this is 1974. The level of knowledge compared to today, you didn't have internet, there's many things you couldn't find out then, So if your parent, like in terms of Dr. Ben, his father was already an academic, but most Caribbean homes in the 60s and 70s, most of them were not academic. They didn't have that, which is not all their fault because they suffered a lot of racism too. My mother worked in the hospital and she would tell us loads of things, that could be very off-putting. And in my opinion, they were very strong to put up with it. Very, very strong. They would suffer racial abuse every single day on the wards. White people would say, oh, screaming out, she's killing me, she's murdering me. I don't know how they did it myself personally, but they did. But then they had us as children as their motivation as to why they got to keep working, because they got to pay the bills. And them days as well, most parents were sending money back home every month too, because families were depending upon them. So they had to just put up and shut up. Our parents didn't rock the boat, but us as the next generation, we was more rebellious. We were the ones that stood up to the police and stood up to various things. So in terms of, the plan can change, yes. If you're strong-willed and if you actually know where it is. Some children, I've got a nephew, right? And from he was small, he always said he wanted to be a scientist. Today he is a scientist. But his two cousins, they used to laugh at him when they were small, because he would be in his room and everything would be kept tidy and in its place. When the other two, his two cousins, they used to laugh at him. Today they're bitting and bobbing, doing this and doing that. Do you understand me? Some children are fortunate to know exactly what they want and have that will and mindset to go for it. Not everybody's like that. So, but having said that, I still can't blame the system for everything, because how many times have we been told no and we still go ahead and go and get what it is we want to go and get? It depends how bad you want it, so the music for me, but then the music, it rang true with a lot of us because of what the music was saying and what we could relate to that was coming out of Jamaica at the time. So some of the various, and then on top of that, we wasn't hearing our music on mainstream, and that is still an issue today. We don't hear our music on mainstream, particularly reggae music. It's always looked down upon, reggae music, but yet, everybody has ripped off reggae music in some shape or form. That's a fact. And I know my history, and I know my musical history. So take rock and roll for instance. Rock and roll, right? They call Elvis the king of rock and roll, but that's an insult, because rock and roll is black music. So how can a white man be the king of black music? It's an insult to black people, because I tell you why. When rock and roll hit the streets, right, it was on fire, right? But none of the white stations would play rock and roll music. They call rock and roll the devil's music. And it's not until they got a Bill Haley, they got a Elvis Presley, they got some white artists to get involved in it. That's when it became an acceptable music to white people. You see? So, but if you go to America, go on the East Coast or the West Side, go and ask them, who is the king of rock and roll? They'll tell you it's Little Richard. Nobody else. You see? So, but Elvis is the king of rock and roll for white people. You know, I just have to put it this way because this is the way it is. You know? So when they say he's the king of rock and roll, he's the king of rock and roll for white people, not for black people. Because rock and roll, they would not play it on the radio. And you've heard of the Cotton Club and many other clubs where the black musicians would have to play behind a curtain, behind a screen, you know, and they would only show the white musicians playing. You see, so, you know, so in terms of reggae music, you know, what's coming up now, the summer months are coming up now. So all over Europe, America, there'll be loads of reggae festivals. And they are, you know, you'd be surprised, but Germany's got one of the biggest reggae festivals. Over 100,000 people plus, Germany. You've got Rotterdam in Spain. Reggae music is big music, but it would be even bigger if we could hear our music on the radio, on mainstream, because when you hear reggae music live at these festivals, there's all kinds of people, black, white, Asian, everybody, the whole melting pot. But yet it's not reflected in mainstream music circles, you know. So so back in our day, you know, this was a big issue for us. When it was in Groundation, you know, there wasn't really a way we was going to get a deal, you know, with any major record company. You know, I mean, at the time, they said that UB40 stole our sound, you know, and they got there because it was white people fronting it. There's no other reason, you know, that's the reality, you know. So my lyrics reflect, you know, reality. I'm not hardcore in the sense that I'm going to ram stuff down your throat, but, you know, it doesn't mean I'm not going to tell you how it is, you know. You know, so, but reggae music by white mainstream media is looked upon as a kind of, oh, it's all laid back and reggae music, and it's not. You know, reggae music, as I tell everybody, has many moods. You know, it's got a spiritual side. You know, it's got the Naya Bingi side, which is very spiritual, drumming orientated. All comes under the banner of reggae music. You know, then we've got the lovers side, and there's two sides to lovers. We've got the yard lovers, you know, and we've got lovers rock, which is British. You know, slightly different, got slightly different fields. Then we've got the roots and culture, you know, which is all about, you know, keeping it real, but with hard bass lines, which is where the terminology of drum and bass come from. Everything come from we, you know. Then we've got reggae dancehall. All comes under the banner of reggae music, you know. So like ska and rocksteady, you know, like take ska. Ska has been taken over, you know, and, you know, like rock and roll, you know, it's been taken over, so to speak. It's a closed shop, and I know this because I've played a few times with a couple of bands in Europe, and, you know, it's been taken over. It's a closed shop, if you understand what I mean. So the music at that time, you know, was an outlet for us, you know, in a physical way and a spiritual and mental way, you know. So we latched onto it like a fish to water. It was just a part of us. As I say in one of my songs, I've got a song that's on the album called Reggae Music. You know, it's in our DNA. You know, and it literally is. It is in our DNA. Music. You know, it's a natural expression. And I always tell people, the first instrument was the vice, and the second instrument was the drum, and everything else come after. But you know, but the music was resonant with me in the sense, and it just progressed from sound system. I started singing on the sound, and then it progressed. In fact, some friends of mine, Groundation, Ismail, he's in Tenerife now, still singing. He invited me to come and do 2 songs with them. I did 2 songs, I think it was in Luton or somewhere. And then he decides he's leaving the band and going to London. And they had a gig at De Montfort University. It used to be called Leicester Polytechnic then. And in fact, that's where we met John Peel. Not for that session, but later on. And I had to learn, I think, about 17 songs within a week. And it was an experience and a half. But it went down well, but something I'll never forget, about the 4th song, I was still nervous. And I'm singing away, I'm just getting comfortable now, and I'm even shutting my eye, feeling the sound. And then I hear a voice saying, Tanai, Tanai. And I open my eyes, and my friend is standing in front of me. He says, Tanai, the leads come out of the mic, it's on the floor. Well, if the ground could open up and just swallow me, well, I just had to just pick it up and plug it back in and just carry on. As they say in show business, the show must go on. But yeah, the music is serious, because for me, my opinion, it's the only music that talks about everything and anything, whether it's to the betterment or to the detriment. That's a reggae music, without doubt.